Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors at Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. Mr Ayaz, rest in peace. His last moments were spent in this unit in Denholm Business Centre in Bradford, being tortured, beaten and sexually assaulted before his naked body was dumped in the streets of Bradford. This is one of the most brutal murders to take place in the city since the notorious Meggy Khan was jailed for life with Tony Grant for the murder of Major Iqbal. And with the age of Mohammed being 20 years old, so close to the age of Kian Woods, who was recently dismembered and murdered in Ireland, 3 men have been sentenced to life in prison for the murder and torture of Mr Ayaz, known to his friends as Fizzy. He was from the Manningham area of Bradford and died from traumatic head injuries after he was stripped naked, punched, slapped and kicked on the 30th of June last year. Raheel Khan, 27 years old, of no fixed abode. Robert Wainwright, aged 26, of Manville Terrace, Bradford. And Suleman Khan, aged 20, of Sanford Road, Bradford. They were all found guilty by a female jury at Bradford Crown Court yesterday. There are several other men that still remain on the run that have left the country following this murder as well. There were tense scenes in the courtroom, it says in the court papers. Wainwright attacked a fellow defendant, Suleman Khan, in the dock after the jury went out to continue their deliberations. Wainwright also had to be restrained by security guards inside the dock when he was sent down after being found guilty yesterday. And a 17-year-old that could not be named for legal reasons was guilty of assisting an offender and will be sentenced at a later date. 2 other people were cleared of all involvement, so I will not mention their names. Fizzy, aka Mohammed, arrived at Unit 2 at 8:30 on that fateful night of 30th of June last year. He had a bottle of Jack Daniels and a bottle of Coke, and he had been drinking it while he was on his way there. He had been invited to chill out with Raheel Khan and Suleman Khan and others. He considered them a friend. CCTV from the business centre shows Mr Ayaz arriving at 8:32, carrying the 2 bottles. He drank alcohol and smoked cannabis when he arrived. At 10:15, he was seen leaving Unit 2, looking unsteady on his feet and colliding with walls. Raheel Khan was hiding in Unit 2 after being on the run from police for a considerable amount of time for a suspicion of conspiracy to possess a shotgun with intent to cause fear of violence. He saw Unit 2 as a safe haven. It was also the location that he ran his drug dealing business from, the police revealed in court, along with other defendants Suleman Khan, Wainwright, Shafiq and a 17-year-old. What followed was a prolonged and brutal attack on Mohammed Fizzy Ayaz by the men at the unit. He was dragged from the centre corridor into Unit 2 where the beating continued. Mohammed was punched in the face, kicked and even kicked in the testicles. He suffered 70 injuries on his body. The pathologist noted he had been punched, slapped, kicked and stamped on. He also had lacerations to his ear, chest and buttocks. His other injuries included 2 black eyes, bruising to his ears, to the inside of his mouth, a number of lacerations and deep bruising to his scalp. Raheel Khan filmed the beating of Mohammed, saying that he wanted to humiliate Mohammed after Mohammed had threatened to distribute a sex video featuring Raheel that was on his mobile phone. Raheel had given this video to him, but he believed that Mohammed had deleted the video, but Mohammed revealed while drunk in this unit that he hadn't done so, and Raheel Khan wanted to teach Mohammed a lesson. Raheel Khan took him in a chokehold until he became unconscious. He had a still image of Mr Ayaz lying naked on the floor. They filmed a lot of this torture and murder and posted some of it on Snapchat. At one point during the beating, Mr Ayaz come round and said, "Watch, now I'm going to release the videos." This actually provoked Raheel, losing his temper even more. He punched Mohammed in the face, pushing him to the ground, slapping him and stripping him naked. The chilling videos of the beatings were recorded on mobile phones by Suleman Khan and also Raheel Khan. A further disgusting video of Wainwright urinating on Mohammed as he lay on the floor was also recorded. During his span in the witness box, Raheel Khan claimed Mr Ayaz was a bit loud and confided in him that night that he had lung cancer. Raheel Khan told him to chill out a bit and he cried. He said he was fed up with his life. He was hugging me. I went into the other room and then food arrived. The neck of a bottle of Hennessy cognac was also inserted into Mohammed's anus. The video clips of Mr Ayaz Ayaz being tortured and beaten were recovered from Raheel Khan's phone that was hidden in a garden in Bradford, the jury was told. Mr Ayaz's body was then wrapped in a white curtain, and a convoy of 2 cars featuring the defendant in a grey Ford S-Max and a black smart car. They drove to Saffron Drive, Allerton, Bradford, where his body was unravelled and dumped face down in the road adjacent to a bus stop, naked. Police found the blood-stained walls, and some of the gang had cleaned up the unit after returning from dumping Fizzy's body. Akash Shafiq was present in the business centre at the time of the killing. He's not a defendant in the case because the police have been unable to trace him. The verdicts were reached after 18 hours of deliberation, spread over 5 days by the jury. On the 28th day of the trial, all 3 of them were found guilty of the murder of Mr Ayaz. Suleman Khan, Raheel Khan and Wainwright gave evidence during the trial, which began on the 14th of January this year. The other 4 defendants opted against giving evidence during the trial. Suleman Khan revealed during his evidence that he had taken a lot of cocaine that night, more than he usually would, he said. Growing up in Saltaire and gaining A-star grades in GCSEs, Raheel Khan built up a drug enterprise in Lancashire in partnership with Akash Shafiq. Khan leased Unit 2 to sort out his drugs and chill with other people. He'd been there for about 3 weeks before Fizzy was killed overnight between June the 30th and July the 1st last year. The trial heard that Justice Goss was sentenced the 4 men at 10:30 a.m. Prosecution said in summary, the brutal gang even recorded Mr Ayaz's beating, begging them to let him die. This was a prolonged and utterly brutal attack on a defenceless victim. Over the course of several hours, he was systematically and sadistically beaten to death on a concrete floor. He was stripped naked by his captors and tortured and humiliated and beaten for entertainment. On several occasions, they used their mobile phones to film him in his torment, capturing even a moment that he begged them to die. We worked closely with West Yorkshire Police, they said, to build a robust prosecution against the defendants. Each one of them was sentenced to life in prison to serve a minimum of 25 years. And we cannot ignore the fact of how drugs and alcohol play such a massive part in this story. Something that may have just turned into an argument, maybe even a fight, a disagreement, then turned into something else from a concoction of different drugs and alcohol in the system, and also the situation where they was, the fact that no one was around to stop it happening. So it makes you wonder if, given them circumstances, would this have turned out the same way? So I really want to pay my respects to the family of Mr Ayaz, and to remember that he was a young man, he was 20 years old, and it was just a terrible way to die, and no one should have gone out like that. So I really do appreciate you joining me today. I'd appreciate it if you leave some feedback in the comments and pay your respects as well to Mohammed. And I'll be back again very shortly with some more street news as well, so please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Peace.